you're a part of that is, so frustrating and so good. I'll just tell you that what I heard, he said to me, one of them was, tell my story, which was interesting, but then he said, listen to the retelling of my story. And what he was meaning was, let me reinterpret your story. There are places in my past, places in my journey that he wants to share another perspective. He wants for me to see it differently. And is that resonating with you? Yeah, and where he's going, you've seen it as this, you've heard it said, you've believed that it was, but now I say to you. And it's almost like a Sermon on the Mount kind of a moment where the Lord wants to shift everything. You've heard it said, you've remembered that it was, now I say to you. So I really resonate with that, and I wrote it down. So yay, I love when like that happens. Okay, who else? I just feel the wind blowing. It's so good. Okay, who else has something they want to share? Yep.
I don't know if I've shared this yet, but one of the things I've been wanting to go after is like real friendships. And similar to what Christy said, it's one of those things that I've wanted since I was like so little, and it's always felt like it's eluded me. Like I'm the one person who like can't have consistent friendships. And so I perceive a lot of things with the Lord, and so in that 60 seconds I felt like there were all these like images of like really fun activities, like really adventurous things like bungee jumping and like kayaking down a river and like salsa dancing, like things I've never done for sure, but things that are like really fun and adventurous. And I felt like God was saying to me like the essence of what's happening in that is like how I feel with you. Like I have the most fun with you, and like you are enjoyable to spend time with and like be around. So.
Yeah, that is so good. Yay. All right, I'm actually going to end us a little bit earlier than we sometimes do to give you guys time, because I just feel like the Lord wants to do some really special things during our prophetic time. So I hope that's okay with you. I'm sure it is, because we're all on we're on Team Us. So yay. I had a friendship that fell apart, that broke my heart. Not one that some of you guys are aware of, a different one. And it broke my heart, and I grieved over that friendship and the loss of what I thought that friendship was going to mean to me for almost a year. And it really made my heart literally ache with the sense of loss and pain. And I remember walking in my closet, just randomly walking in my closet and saying to the Lord, when am I ever going to be free of the ache and pain that I feel about this friendship? Because I'm done with it. I am done. And this is what I heard. Well, it's about time. And I was like, what? And he goes, it's about time. Because the minute you decide you're done, we can be done. And I was like, this was up to me? And he was going, yes, it was. Now, not all things are up to us that way, but I felt like he was saying to me, I was waiting for you to get done being beat up. And there are these places in our lives where we get to decide where we move on. Some places, because we have so little control over so many things, we believe we have control over nothing. Right? Or if we gain control in one area, we want to project a need for control in all areas of our lives. And unfortunately, the reality is we pretty much can control nobody. We can't control anybody. We can invite people into things, we can show people things, but ultimately, they really are free to choose. So we can't control any of those things. But in that reality, we sometimes forget how much power we have. How much power we have and how much we have access to. We have access to knowing when somebody else is falling off a cliff, what God has to say about that. We have access to proclaiming out loud with our words what God has to say about the people in our lives, what God has to say about us. We get to choose what emotions we allow to visit and hang out with us. We do get to choose. We get to choose what thoughts we decide we're going to own. And we decide which thoughts we're going to buy and wear every day. We often don't think we have a choice. And that comes back to the mental health question, which is, how much freedom do we have in those choices? And that's why it's essential that if we're finding ourselves hounded by certain emotions or certain thinking, then that area of our life, that area of our mind experience, I'm loving this storming thing happening, right? Like, I feel like we're like in this like bubble of like storminess, right? And I just feel like, isn't that like life with God? Like, and then sometimes you just go, God, let's like go be out in the windy storminess, like, and have like a tree fly by right in front of me. Like, I like that part too. But anywho, wrapping it up with this. I love Earl Henslin's comment. You guys know he's one of my cool guys. He wrote the book, This Is Your Brain on Joy. And he said, not everybody has the same freedom of choice. We don't know, he said, rather than walking around in somebody's life, this thing of you don't know somebody until you walk a mile in their shoes. And he goes, you don't know somebody until you've walked a mile in their brain. So until you know the reality of their ability to make choices within their perceptions. And that's why I believe it's so important to go hard after, for ourselves, God, retell my story. Help retell my story. Help just continually lay our hands on our brains and go, Lord, retell my story. Help me see it with the light of the Holy Spirit. Heal the neural pathways that land in the same stinking conclusions over and over and over again, that lock me into a self-preservation, or I must keep this social This is where we sacrifice ourselves for other people until we're dead. That's the social person. I am not okay unless you're okay, so I will kill myself to make you okay because you need to make me okay. That's that person. This person is the one who is constantly afraid of things going wrong. And when you start talking about hopes and dreams, they look at their hopes and dreams in terms of what they don't want to have happen. That's okay, but it's not very joyful, right? So God is transforming these places. And this person who needs to transmit, may they no longer be addicted to impacting others as a sense of self. So may we come into a renewed place of God retelling our story so that those neural pathways are disrupted. That automatic conclusion that we run to in our mind that keep our lives on the same path, and instead shift the way that we think and release us into a whole new sense of possibility. And that's the word for chaos. Chaos isn't negative. Chaos is, there is unorganized possibility before me. So how many of us have a place in our life where we have chaos? It is unorganized possibility, and it feels scary, right? That is the face of the Holy Spirit hovering over the deep. The face of the Holy Spirit is hovering over the deep places in our lives that are unorganized possibility. And the Holy Spirit just hovers over those places and goes, shh, let me calm this so that out of this comes life. Right? Yay, okay.
Jordan, I